Hello, I am Lily, and this is the Untangled Knitting Podcast. Hello, welcome or welcome back. I am Lily, and I'm so excited that you all are here with me today to talk about knitting projects and plans and acquisitions. I realized that I forgot quite a bit of the intro in my last video, and I'm back fairly soon because I have a pretty exciting finished object that I really wanted to share, and also because I am looking for some help. I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to cast on next, and I thought it would be really fun just to hop on and talk through all of my options. Please feel free to either comment below or get in touch on Instagram and let me know your thoughts. Speaking of which, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Lily_Untangled, and links to my Instagram page and all the details about the show, patterns, yarns. Hopefully every single thing I mention will be in the description box below. And sometimes it's kind of hard to find, especially if you're watching this on your phone. So there is like a little tiny gray arrow, and if you click that, it's next to the title. All the information will come up. And yeah, I guess we should get started. And I should also say that I do try to comment and reply to everyone's feedback. It's been so much fun starting this dialogue with you all and really feeling like we have a sense of community, if it were, and I really have loved that. So please don't hesitate to get in touch. I try to respond to all the DMs and comments, and always like and subscribe so other people can find this video if they might enjoy it. So I am wearing my champagne cardigan, and I wear it so often now. It's the perfect thing for foggy Bay Area mornings. And I realized too, I've mentioned the Bay Area kind of chill factor a couple of times, but for those of you who maybe aren't from California or aren't aware, I saw there's these kind of interesting like statistics you can see, and it looks like most of the viewers all out there aren't from the area. And I just thought it'd be kind of fun to chat about why actually California is great for sweater knitters, especially if you're north of, say, the Central Coast or north of Santa Barbara, for example, and if you're on the coast in particular. So what happens is the center of California, even just a little bit inland, can get really, really, really hot. Some portions are, full on desert. But what that means is that hot, dry air just sucks all the moisture in it creates kind of a vacuum. And all the moisture from out over the Pacific Ocean comes in usually as the day kind of warms up. It comes in the evenings, and then it stays overnight. And so we woke up this morning here in Oakland, California, with completely, what we call socked in. So I could hardly see the hills out my window, and it was completely foggy. You could barely see even the telephone poles. And that lasted till almost noon. It started to get kind of burned off more and more. It got warmer and warmer throughout the day. And now I'm filming in the afternoon. It's 4 o'clock, and there is just a beautiful blue sky and a big dragonfly. Hello. Just like hanging out. That's very sweet. So anyway, that's why it's so nice to have sweaters for the morning, even in July here in California, especially in the northern coastal areas. And the champagne cardigan has just been perfect for that. I'm actually wearing it today with just a tank top and cut-off jean shorts, and it kind of dresses up what would be like a super, super casual look. And I don't feel bad just kind of walking around and going to, pick up my kids and things like that. I'm filming again on a Monday because I do have Mondays off. The gallery I work for is closed, and this has just felt like a really nice rhythm. So, I spoke so long about this piece in the last episode, so please, I'll link that below as well. Please go check that out for all the details if you haven't seen it yet. This is Petite Knit's Champagne Cardigan. It's knit at a different gauge. I knit the smallest size, but I do have a larger gauge. And I worked it up in Purl Soho Simply Camel, which is 100% camel, held with gather from a Verb for keeping warm and in the color dough. And I also held it with Knitting for Olives Mohair silk in their color rose mushroom. So it's quite a melange, but it's so cozy and soft and I think super wearable. It's exactly the piece that I wanted it to be. So for those of you who are looking for, I think there were a couple comments that you wanted to see it on. So I was happy to oblige because I was wearing it anyway. So I have this very exciting finished object that I did not think would be finished. And I had just cast this on in the last video. So this is probably the fastest full garment I've ever made, just about 2 weeks. This is the Lento, which is from Lane magazine. I'm sorry, I think I'm saying that wrong. And I love it. It was a super quick knit, really fast. Oh, there's a little, there we go. Had to smooth out that raglan. Got a little creased in blocking. And I knit this in the most amazing yarn from the Wandering Flock. It is just so multi-dimensional, so beautiful, and I'm really happy with it. I made a few modifications. I just did a little center back decrease just along the midsection just to kind of pull things together, and then went straight down. Obviously, or maybe not obviously, the color change and stripes are not in pattern, so I just kind of went with what made sense moving along. And yeah, I love it. This is the Wandering Flock Merino DK, and I held it with corresponding mohairs. There were a couple that did not, let me make sure that's right. Yes, there's a mohair section here where I held one mohair that's not Wandering Flock to the Wandering Flock just because I needed something to kind of shift more gradually into this kind of deep rest. And then I just had fun with a little mini stripe on the cuffs. It is actually still a little bit wet. It's not wet, but it's damp. But I really wanted to jump on and film and yeah, show you guys. I'm so excited. I think it's gonna fit my friend Yam just beautifully. I hope it does. I wanted this to just feel like a hug, to feel kind of like an oversized sweatshirt, something that was really soft and comfortable, but that also looked really professional and polished. So I hope that she gets a lot of wear out of it, and it was a total joy to make. And in fact, I loved making this so much that I think I'm gonna make one for myself, because when I got into the Wandering Flock update, this was back in December, I believe, I kind of went all out. So maybe I should talk about that. So that's my finished object. Yes, I'll talk about what I think I want to do with it next in a little bit. So next up, whips. Yes, okay, I'm just gonna zoom right through these because this is not much different than what you saw before. This is my Great Gingham Raglan. I'm almost done with the body. I have one more section, not a 2 section, but so I guess half one section left, and then I'm supposed to be done with the body, which seems a little short. So maybe I'll do another one. But I'm getting really, really excited because I will be working with Jen of JP Knits Things, and we had an amazing first call to talk about how we're going to kind of go through her amazing free resource, which is this incredible worksheet that really teaches you how to apply neck shaping to any raglan. And Jen is such a technical whiz, but she presents information really, really clearly, really specifically, and really compassionately. So I think it's going to be helpful for folks if you haven't altered patterns to that kind of degree, or even if you're just curious about pattern math and how that works. I'm really excited about our conversation. Because it is a free resource, we're actually going to be able to show you her worksheet, go over my numbers, make sure my numbers are right, do the math kind of together. And I think it's just going to be a really exciting project. So she and I are filming that 1 week from today, and I hope to get it up by the is that right? Yeah, 1 week from today we're going to film. So I hope to get that up very soon, and I'm really excited about it. And I'm excited for you all to get to know her presence if you haven't already. Most of you are probably well aware of her. And if not, definitely give her and follow on Instagram and keep up with her. She has an incredible new test knit actually that's out that I really encourage folks to sign up for. Again, just in terms not only of the beauty of her garments and the specificity of her design intentions, she's really about creating and cultivating community. And yeah, I just can't speak more highly of her, and how excited I am about this project. And that leads me actually quite nicely into my next whip, which is a test, which I alluded to very briefly last time, and now I can share about. So I was selected as a tester for Amy Shearer's latest project. This is the puff sleeve pullover, and I'm really excited about it. The intention behind it was actually inspired by Amy was inspired by Anne of Green Gables, which I feel like is kind of having a moment. I'm a huge Anne of Green Gables fan. I read all of the books when I was maybe kind of too young to be reading them, and they were a real touchstone for me. And I think they are a touchstone for anyone who's ever felt left out, and anyone who's ever kind of yearned for a sense of home, and kind of how you make your own sense of home and make your own life. And Anne's kind of perspective on beauty, I think, is also something that people are kind of revisiting, and kind of her real sense of joy of being in the world and how that moves her through some really dark places. I mean, if you actually read the books, she had it rough. I mean, it was really, really, the protagonist of these stories, if you haven't heard of Anne of Green Gables, is an orphan who kind of gets into misadventures and finds community on a small island in Canada off the coast of Nova Scotia. So anyway, I was really excited when I saw that this piece was inspired by Anne of Green Gables, and I applied to test it, and I'm, again, so glad I did. One of the other things that I got to do was work with some new to me yarn from Brewery Knits, and this is her knits. Oh My Merino DK. The color is bay, and the dyer behind the yarn is Sharon. She has a great podcast that I will link to below, and she's also from the Bay Area, so that was really a fun moment. and she's also one of the testers on the piece. So her yarn is available on Etsy. It is fantastic. This is a non-superwash organic extra fine merino, incredibly soft, but, and this is what's key I think to this particular pattern, it has really nice structure. So finding a yarn that was going to have, because I did initially really want to use yarn for my stash for this piece, but finding a yarn that I knew was going to have the softness that I wanted, because it is a kind of pullover design that I wanted to be able to wear next to skin. I wanted it to look really clean and sharp because of the lines of the piece. And I also wanted to get that structure so that the sleeves really do their puffiness. And so I decided in the end not to go with stash, because this is the yarn that the pattern lists. And while there are other testers using other yarns, and I think that they will be really, really beautiful, I did kind of want to go with something that I was more sure of. So I'm almost done with my little raglan increases. There is not a collar at this point, but there will be, and I am loving this. It is really, really beautiful. I'm super, super thrilled. I got gauged right off the bat with the listed materials, so that feels really good. And I was a little nervous because I've been doing so many fluffy projects, and I was worried when I was first knitting about rowing out a little bit, which is, when your purl stitches have a little bit more funk to them. And the thing about all this juicy mohair is it really adds that blurring effect. It's kind of like, rubbing, what did they used to do back in the day? It was like the opposite of HD. Put Vaseline or something, goopiness on the camera lens just to smooth everything out. And mohair kind of does that for your knits. And I was a little nervous that my stitches weren't going to be as even or as kind of sharp as I wanted them to be. But here's my swatch, and I actually think they're looking really nice. I'm really, it blocked out beautifully. So yay for blocking, because it did not look this perfect. And it's not perfect. I mean, there's a little bit of irregularity still, but it did not look this kind of crisp before blocking. But now that I know that I'm getting gauged, that the fabric is really wonderful, it feels really consistent, I think it's going to look really beautiful. So this is the puff sleeve pullover, the very beginnings of the puff sleeve pullover. It's quite a long test, so I have some time, and I'm really excited about it. I think it's going to be a beautiful piece, and I'm already getting my little poofs ready. And I do like these little eyelet lace details on the raglan. I just don't have anything else like this in my wardrobe, and I think it's going to be a joy to wear. So putting that back into my Heidi West bag, which I love and is super handy. And yeah, oh, I thought I might also show, I do keep, pens in here, and this is a perhaps new to you gadget. I love it for my raglans. It's my stitch counter on a kind of slat bracelet. And since this is magnetized, I can also put my, little stitch markers on it, and it kind of holds everything together. And I just keep that on my right hand and just can click, click, click all the way through. So that's been really nice, just to make sure that I'm on track. I'm not a raglan master by any chance, but obviously this is very kind of simple and intuitive, but it's nice to make sure that I'm on track. So loving that. And that's really it. I have my satellite shawl, which has not progressed since my last recording. I really want to just keep it as my travel knit because it's so easy to take around, and I have another work trip in a couple weeks, which is fairly local, but again, I'll have a lot of time to knit going to and from, and then a trip to New York for work in the fall, and another trip to New York that we will talk about later. But now what I really want to talk about is what to do next. So I'll show you, I did do some more of my Stria cardigan for, you know, the true believers in the crew. I've been working on this for almost a year. I don't know why I can't finish it. And then I'm like, oh, I do know why I can't finish it. It's knit on 2.5 millimeter needles, and it's half fisherman's rib. So it was really fun in the beginning, and now I have almost 300 stitches on the needle, and I still have 20 rows to go before I split for sleeves. And just kind of like doing the math on that, first of all, it's going to increase further, but like, that's a lot of stitches, yo. That's a lot of stitches. It's going to be great. I love it. It feels so good. I'm knitting this in my Ride or Die, what I called my my Desert Island yarn, which is sea change fibers, 100% Rambouillet fingering wool. It's just the best fingering I've ever come across. It's so plush and bouncy, but it has such beautiful color definition, and I love it. So anyway, my thought is just finish this, but I'm gonna want something else that's gonna give me a break from the really, frankly, like, it's just a lot of small stitches. I want something a little bit bulkier. So what shall I do? I know I talked on and on and on about the Ingrid sweater last time. I still really want to do it, but I haven't figured out what kind of yarn I want to use. And I really don't feel like I want to knit something that heavy necessarily right now. But then the other things I'm thinking of are not unheavy. So anyway, this is more of the like request for assistance part of the project where I'm like, please, I need input. So here are some of my thoughts. The first, which I alluded to earlier, is to make my own version of a Wandering Flock Lento. So this is for my friend Yam, who I went to college with, who I adore, who messaged me asking for a rainbow sweater, and I've been wanting to make this fade. I asked her if this counts, and she said yes. So she's getting this for fall in DC, where she has recently moved, and I'm really excited for her. But I am a little sad because now whenever I go to New York City, I'll miss seeing my good friend. But I'm sure our paths will cross again someday soon. Gosh, I really like this. I really hope she likes it because I think it's fabulous. Anyway, so I loved working on this, and it was so fast. The gauge is so flexible. Everything about it is just kind of like, I know people say fly off the needles, but it really did just zoom, like flew off the needles. So I have, and some folks will remember this from my acquisitions that I mentioned, I have other Wandering Flock yarns, as you can see. So my thought for my fade that I would do is go from a dark blue to a light blue to the pink, and do the pink with this, right? Yes, we love it. And then go back to light blue and then back to dark blue. So it would kind of go into pink and then out, maybe. That's my kind of initial thought. And if I did that, I would cast on in the dark blue, but I would put, I'd cast on in the pink because it's a folded over collar. And I thought it would be really cute to do, I saw this, Jackie on Caddy Jacks did this where she did a folded over collar, but she did a contrast for the inner part. So she cast on in one color, and then when she was halfway through knitting to the fold down point, she added in her main color that it was going to be. So my idea is that I could do that where I cast on with this, and then that's the contrast here. And then I would do it again at the very bottom and on the cuffs, where instead of ending in the deep blue, I would end with this, just to create that kind of visual interest, because I do think it's pretty successful on my cuffs here. And no, my ends are not woven in, and I still have to do a little finishing piece on that to kind of put it all back together. But okay, so that's one thing I want to make. Very excited about that, and it's on my list. It's very sunset-y, and I feel like the sunset kind of color spectrum is really my color palette. The other thing, though, I was thinking I could do, because I do have quite a lot left over of these Wandering Flock skeins, is I was thinking I could make a anchors sweater for my son and do like a kid knit, and he's 2, and so that would be really fast and kind of fun. And yeah, I was thinking that might be really nice to do, again, the dark blue, and then do little stripes or something with some of these contrasts, and that he might like that. Though right now his favorite color is red, but like 3 weeks ago was blue, and before that was yellow. You know, he's kind of all over the place with his color preferences these days. Okay, so option number 1, what to cast on first. Okay, option number 1, my version of the rainbow Lento, which would be like the sunset rainbow Lento. Option 2, a small dude sweater for my little guy. Option 3, I thought for like a quick palette cleanser, I really am eager to use my spring tonals from Explorer Knits and Fibers. I really, really, really love this color, and I didn't get enough. I was such a fool. I didn't get enough I didn't get a sweater's quantity, and that was a mistake. I made a mistake. I should have gotten a sweater's quantity, but I didn't. This is the color Aster. It's from her spring tonals line. I got the Rockies Decay and a thing of Surrey Alpaca. I have 2 of each. Like, that doesn't, what? Why? Why would I do that? I don't know. But I was thinking I could do a Oslo hat with this, and that might be a fun way to just kind of mix things up and have something for the colder weather, and it would be really cute. And I don't have anything in this color. So that's option 3, I suppose. And then option 4 is getting my Stria sweater done. And this is, I really, really want to use this La Bien Aimée Corey worsted, and I got this at Portland Rose City Yarn Crawl. Right now it's in its home turf bag, and I'm thinking I'll put in images, obviously, of these pieces so that you can see them as I'm talking about them. I'm so excited about making this sweater, and I'm debating going back and forth over whether I want the main color to be the gray or this deep dark navy. Very different vibe, I think, depending on which way I go, but this will be the color palette. So these are all things I know I want to make, and I just don't know what to do first. And all would be kind of in breaks from the Stria, because I gotta get that done. I just have to do it. It's so pretty. I know I'll wear it all the time. I just have to kind of, put my head down and go for it. I also have my boho strickling kit that I want to make, but that is also on even thinner yarn. It's on lace weight yarn, and I think it uses not even 2.5 millimeter, but like full on 2mm needles. And that would not be a break from the other thing that I'm doing. So that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm pondering. What should I do next? I don't know. I'm going to get a sip of coffee. Oh, and this is from the ceramics studio that I spoke about during my last episode. So fun. Or maybe it was the episode before. No, it was my last episode. The one I talked about Germany. Yeah. Oh my gosh. I have a teapot too. I should have brought the teapot up to show you guys. It's so beautiful. I love it. Yeah, that was awesome. Okay, so what am I supposed to talk about next? Oh, what to do next. We went over that. And then I have some kind of fun news. I'm going to go to Rhinebeck this year. And I'm pretty stoked about it. So I was really not sure, kind of going back and forth about, we have this family wedding in New Jersey, like the weekend before. So we weren't even, it's a long way to go. If we did go, we wanted to bring, either I would just go or we wanted to bring the whole family. So it's 4 tickets from, across the country, and I'm super excited about the wedding. And I wanted to do that, and it didn't make any sense to kind of come back for Rhinebeck. But she thought, what if we just stay up in Dutchess County in, the Hudson Valley, which is one of the most beautiful places to be in autumn. Stay up there as a family. We scored an amazing Airbnb. I'm so excited. It's right on this creek, and it's on the border of a national forest that's 130 acres of trails, and I'm just really excited. So we're just going for it. The whole fam is going to do a little New England adventure. So I think that'll be really fun, and I'm excited to share photos and stuff of that. And I'm excited to hopefully just squish a bunch of yarn at the 2 major fairs. I think that, there's also Indie Untangled, which I have not gotten tickets for. And then I'm really excited for Woolen Folk, because some of my favorite dyers, like Sarah from Sea Change Fibers, which is what I made up my Stria in, and which is just kind of one of my favorite yarns ever. She's going to be at Woolen Folk, so I'm super excited for that. The venue also looks really beautiful, and yeah, I would love to meet up with anyone who's also planning to go. So if we wanted to, we could have a meetup maybe there. I think the meetups that I've heard of at the fairgrounds for the actual Rhinebeck day might be a little more chaotic and large. And we're pretty chill. This is a West Coast podcast. But yeah, if anyone's interested in meeting up, please send me a DM on Instagram, and I'll put a little group together, and maybe we can figure out something really fun to do as a group as we get ready to all be there. And I'm just really excited to kind of have some IRL knitting community moments. My mom is also going to be there, so I'm really excited to be doing more knitting adventures with her. And my dad and my husband will be having awesome hikes with a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old, because my little son is about to turn 3. He'll actually turn 3 while we're in upstate New York. So anyway, that's just kind of a fun development I'm really excited for, and I hope I get the chance to see you all there, or whoever's going to be there. And okay, how am I doing? I'm really rip-roaring through here, guys. because I do have to go get my kids. Just quick acquisitions, I guess. I did do a little shopping with Cocoa Knits, another Bay Area yarn Bay Area knitwear designer and also a tool manufacturer, so tool designer. And she finally got back in stock something I've wanted for a long time, which is this beautiful cement coaster, which is magnetized. And it's awesome. And it really does keep all my stitch markers organized and easily available. And yeah, it's just great. Nothing kind of falls all over the place. I did find a stitch marker like fully in my bed the other day. So this is nice. That won't happen anymore. And I also wanted to mention my row gauge measuring tool. This is, I got it, I believe, from Fiberspace when I was ordering some of their custom Spincycle. And it is by far the best one of these I've ever seen. I posted a picture of my winning swatch the other day and on Instagram, and I got a bunch of messages about this. So it is awesome. It's from a company called Ackerworks. It has little teeth. It's really simple, really easy to read. I think some of them are really not, like, they don't do what they're supposed to do, and I don't really understand why all gauge measuring tools don't look like this. It's like perfect. And yeah, 4 inches or 10 centimeters each direction, and little teeth to kind of lock it in a little bit, and you can just lay your swatch out on a flat surface and you're good to go. So those are kind of my more recent acquisitions. I also did get, I did something a little bit silly. I applied for a test knit, didn't get the test knit, but before I found out I didn't get the test knit, I ordered like extra yarn just to be safe in case I did get the test knit. So this is more Wandering Flock. This is the Dusty Blue Mohair. I didn't bring it over. I have the Dusty Blue fingering, and I was going to hold that with this to do a test. And I still want to make, if not that pattern, another pattern with those held together. So it wasn't totally in vain, but it was still a little bit silly. And I also got that white mohair I was speaking of was not so far afield. In fact, it was in my own backyard. That's right. Verb for Keeping Warm actually had plenty of their lighthouse color, which is their 100% natural, 72% mohair, 28% silk. So this is definitely less silky, but so soft. So it has more of a yarn-like structure to it, I would say, because it's 72-26 versus 70-30. But it's one of my absolute favorite versions of a mohair. It's so incredibly beautiful. No prickle to it. I honestly think when there's more of it, it's more condensed. You can really kind of grab onto more of it. So anyway, that was a total win. Super, super happy about that. Now I just have to figure out what I'm making. Because, like I said, I feel like it's just, people commented as well, too much fluff probably for the Ingrid, right? I need crisp definition to see that beautiful stitch work. So I'm not sure how I'm going to make that, but I know I am. Just not right now. Which is why you all are going to help me decide what to cast on next. What else do I want to talk about? Anything? I think that was quick, but hopefully fun. Got through a lot. Hopefully I'll be back again in not too long, and I'll have casted on what you guys might recommend that I cast on next. What else? Oh, I didn't say last time that our giveaway winner contacted me. She got her yarn. She's super stoked on it, and that went really beautifully. So that was really, really fun. And thank you again to everyone who entered the giveaway a few months ago. What else was I going to say? I don't know. I guess that's about it. If you haven't seen the new Persuasion on Netflix, please skip it. If you're into Jane Austen and appreciate storytelling, I would say it's not for you. I'm so riled up about this. I feel like there's probably a pretty big crossover between the knitters and the Jane Austen fans. If you're not a Jane Austen fan, feel free to just skip right over this. But the main character in Persuasion is a young woman who is kind of the ultimate people pleaser. She's incredibly attuned to and interested in what other people think of her, and not just think of her, but think of her family, and also how she can please them. And she spends most of her life making sure that the choices that she makes are in service to others. And what's so wonderful about the book is that it celebrates that side of her and says, yes, there's a lot of things about this that can be helpful to society. And she's a really great, supporter for all of these people in her life. But at the same time, she has been persuaded to act against her own self-interest and her own happiness at one point in her life. And her self-discovery of her own ability to make choices, her own autonomy, is probably one of my favorite narrative arcs in all of literature. So I was just very disappointed in the film, and I don't think I'm alone, but it's a crying shame. Let's see. Is there anything else I should talk about? Anything? I should end on a positive note. Is there anything that I'm loving The Old Man. Is anybody else watching this? So this is really like my two worlds. I love a spy thriller, and I love Jane Austen. Period dramas. Doesn't have to be Jane Austen. I love a period drama. I also love a cozy mystery, but I really do love spy movies. And The Old Man is a mini series. I think it's on Hulu. It's so great. I highly recommend it. So yeah, I'll end on that, a very positive note. And this is fun. This was a very casual episode. I think it's going to be pretty short, hopefully. And I don't even know if I have fun footage for the outro, but that's cool. And thanks for joining me. I appreciate you all. And I hope that everyone's having a really lovely summer or lovely winter, depending on where you are in the world. And that you keep putting yourself out into the world with your stitches, with your voice, and with yourself. Thank you all. Bye.